I'm standing in this hospital delivery room right now, staring at the woman on the bed, Minho's pregnant fiancée. My hands are steady, professional, but inside, I'm screaming. Because the man standing next to her, holding her hand, is Minho Kim, the Korean mafia boss, the man I loved 7 years ago. The man who doesn't know that the 6-year-old boy waiting in my apartment is his son. He just looked up at me. Recognition flashed in his eyes. Shock, anger, confusion. His fiancée is in labor. I'm the only obstetrician on duty tonight, and in about 3 minutes, I'm going to have to deliver his child. While hiding the fact that he already has one, this is going to destroy everything. 7 years ago, I was just a medical student finishing my obstetrics residency at Seoul National University Hospital. I wasn't supposed to fall in love with Minho Kim. We met at a charity gala the hospital hosted, one of those events where wealthy donors write checks to feel good about themselves. Minho was there representing his family's import-export business. That's what the Kims called it publicly. Everyone knew the truth. But when he approached me by the champagne table, I didn't see a gangster. I saw a man in an expensive suit with kind eyes and a smile that felt real. "You look bored," he said. "I am. I hate these things. I'd rather be in the ER. A woman who prefers blood to champagne. Interesting." He handed me a glass anyway. "Minho Kim. Elena Park." I didn't take the drink. "And I know who you are. Your family funded the new pediatric wing." "Guilty," he smiled, though I promise it was clean money, mostly. I should have walked away, should have known better. But there was something about his honesty, his self-awareness of what he was, that intrigued me. We talked for 2 hours. About medicine, about his burden of family expectations, about my dreams of opening a women's clinic in underserved areas. He listened like I was the only person in the room. When he asked for my number, I gave it to him. For 6 months, we had something beautiful. Secret, yes. His family would never approve of a poor med student, and my colleagues would have judged me for dating a Kim. But when we were alone in his apartment, away from his world and mine, we were just Minho and Elena. He made me believe he could change, that he could leave the family business, that we could build a future together. Then one night, he didn't show up for our dinner. No call, no text, just gone. I found out 2 weeks later from a news article. Minho Kim was engaged to the daughter of a rival crime family, a strategic alliance. The wedding was in 3 months. I was heartbroken, furious, betrayed. But worse, I was pregnant. I called him 20 times that day. He never answered. I went to his apartment, changed locks. I tried to reach him at his family's office. They threw me out, so I made a choice. I would have this baby alone. I would finish medical school, and I would never, ever let Minho Kim hurt me again. I thought that was the end of our story. I was wrong. Let me take you back to the moment that created everything. It was 6.5 years ago. Minho and I had been seeing each other for 5 months. He'd just told me he was ready to leave the family business. "I'm serious, Elena," he said, holding my hands across the small table in my tiny apartment. "I've been saving money, clean money. We could move abroad. You could finish your residency anywhere. I could start over. Your family would never let you go. Then we don't ask permission." His eyes were intense, certain. "We just disappear. Together." I wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. That night, we made love like it was the first and last time, like we were sealing a promise. He held me afterward and whispered plans, Portugal maybe, or New Zealand. Somewhere far from Seoul. Somewhere we could be normal. "I love you," he said. "I've never said that to anyone, but I love you, Elena. I love you too." 3 days later, he vanished. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. And then the engagement announcement. I was shattered, but I was also a survivor. I had my medical career. I had my pride. And 6 weeks later, when I saw those 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test, I had a choice to make. I could tell him, force him to acknowledge me, become the scandal, the mistress, the woman who trapped the mafia heir with a baby. Or I could disappear, protect my child from ever being a pawn in the Kim family's games. I chose my son. I gave birth to Jiwoo alone in a small clinic, with only my best friend holding my hand. He had Minho's eyes, his nose. I named him Jiwoo, wisdom and divine intervention. because it felt like God was giving me a second chance at love. For 6 years, I raised him alone, finished my residency, became one of the best OB-GYNs in Seoul, built a quiet, safe life. I never thought I'd see Minho again. But last week, everything changed. I was reviewing my schedule for overnight shifts when I saw the name Kim Minho, 10 p.m. admission, emergency prenatal care for fiancé. My hands shook so badly I dropped the chart. He was coming here, to my hospital, with his pregnant fiancé. And I was the only attending obstetrician on duty. The night Minho walked into my hospital, I had a decision to make. I could request another doctor, make up an excuse, avoid the confrontation entirely. But I didn't become one of Seoul's top OB-GYNs by running away. So when the ER called up to labor and delivery, I steadied myself and said, send them up. I had 10 minutes to prepare, 10 minutes to build walls around my heart. But nothing could prepare me for seeing him again. He walked in supporting a beautiful woman, mid-20s, designer maternity dress, diamond ring that could fund a small hospital. She was in obvious pain, contractions strong. Please help her, Minho said before he even looked at me. The baby's not due for another month and she's... Then our eyes met. I watched the color drain from his face, watched him freeze mid-sentence, watched 7 years of history flash between us in a single moment. Doctor, Park will take excellent care of you, I said to his fiancée, my voice professional ice. Please lie down here. Let me examine you. Minho was staring at me like he'd seen a ghost, but his fiancée needed help, so he stepped back, letting me work. Preeclampsia. Dangerously high blood pressure. The baby was in distress. We needed to do an emergency C-section immediately or we'd lose them both. I need to operate now, I told them. Your baby is in danger. His fiancée started crying. Minho held her hand, but his eyes kept darting to me. Questions, confusion, something that looked almost like longing. The surgery took 2 hours. I delivered a healthy baby girl. Mother and child both stable. When I came out to the waiting room to give Minho the news, he was alone. His guards stood at a distance. They're both fine, I said. You can see them in 30 minutes. Elena. My name on his lips after 7 years. I need to explain, you don't owe me anything. I turned to leave. I have a son, don't I? The words stopped me cold. I could have lied, could have denied it, but I was tired of running, tired of hiding. So I turned around and said, yes, his name is Jiwoo. He's 6 years old, and he's the best thing that ever happened to me. Minho's face crumpled. He whispered. No, I said, and I walked away. But I should have known. Men like Minho Kim don't take no for an answer. For 3 days after the surgery, Minho sent flowers to my office. Expensive arrangements with cards that said, please, let me explain. MH. I never stopped thinking about you. MH. Our son deserves to know his father. MH. I threw them all away. But on the 4th day, he showed up at Jiwoo's school. My best friend called me, panicked. Elena, there's a man here. Expensive suit, security detail. He's watching Jiwoo at recess. I left the hospital mid-shift and drove like hell. When I got there, Minho was standing outside the playground fence, just watching. Watching our son play soccer with his friends. Watching him laugh. Watching him live the innocent childhood Minho never had. Get away from him, I hissed, grabbing his arm. He looks just like me. Minho's voice was thick with emotion. Same smile, same energy. Elena, he's beautiful. You don't get to do this. You don't get to waltz into his life now. I didn't know. He turned to me and I saw tears in his eyes. Actual tears. If I had known you were pregnant, I would never have what? Abandoned me? Married someone else? I was shaking with rage. You made your choice, Minho. You chose your family's empire over me. They threatened you. He grabbed my shoulders. My father found out about us. He said if I didn't end it, he'd have you killed. Make it look like an accident. I was trying to protect you. I stumbled back. What? I never wanted to leave you. I was going to come back after the wedding, explain everything, beg you to wait for me. But you disappeared, changed your number, moved apartments. I searched for months, Elena. I thought you hated me. I did hate you. My voice cracked. I do hate you. Then hate me. But please, let me know my son. Ji-woo chose that moment to score a goal. He jumped up celebrating and for 1 second looked directly at us, at his father. I saw it happen in real time. Ji-woo's eyes meeting Minho's. The curiosity, the innocent wave. Minho waved back, his face breaking into a smile I hadn't seen in 7 years. And I knew, standing there, that I'd already lost this battle. Because how do you tell a 6-year-old boy he can't know his own father? Especially when that boy had been asking about dads for months? I agreed to one meeting, one dinner at my apartment where Minho could meet Ji-woo properly, supervised, controlled. What I didn't expect was for Ji-woo to fall in love with him instantly. Mom, Mr. Minho knows everything about soccer. Ji-woo was bouncing with excitement. He says he'll take me to a game. Can he? Please? Minho was sitting on my floor, building Legos with our son, looking more relaxed than I'd ever seen him. He'd taken off his jacket and tie, rolled up his sleeves, become just a dad. We'll see, sweetheart, I said carefully. After Ji-woo went to bed, Minho and I sat in my small living room. The silence was heavy with unsaid things. You're good with him, I admitted. He's incredible, smart, kind. You raised him well. I raised him alone. I know, and I'm sorry for everything. Minho leaned forward. But I'm here now. I want to be his father, really be his father, not some distant figure who sends money. I want bedtime stories and soccer games and homework help. You're a mafia boss, Minho. You can't just... I'm leaving the organization. I actually laughed. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. He pulled out an envelope, handed it to me. Inside were documents, transfer papers, resignations. I've been planning this for 2 years, since my father died. I've been slowly moving assets, building an exit strategy. I have enough clean money to last 3 lifetimes. I'm done, Elena. Why now? Because 3 days ago, I delivered my daughter, held her in my arms, and I realized I was about to make the same mistakes my father made. Put business before family. Choose power over love. He looked at me with those same eyes that had made me fall for him 7 years ago. I have a 6-year-old son I've never met and a newborn daughter. I refuse to be an absent father to either of them. What about your fiancé? Pain crossed his face. Soo-jin and I, we were never in love. It was arranged. She knows that. We're going to co-parent our daughter, but the engagement is off. She actually encouraged me to find you. Said she saw the way I looked at you in the delivery room. I didn't know what to say. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Minho continued. I'm not asking you to take me back. I want to be in Ji-woo's life. And if you'll let me, I want to try to earn your trust again, however long that takes. Before I could answer, Ji-woo's voice called from his bedroom. Mom, I had a nightmare. I'll go, Minho said, standing. Minho! But he was already walking to Ji-woo's room. I followed, watched from the doorway as he sat on our son's bed. Hey, buddy, bad dream? Yeah, there were monsters. Want to know a secret? Minho tucked the blanket around him. When I was your age, I had nightmares too. My mom used to tell me that brave people aren't people who don't get scared. They're people who are scared but do the right thing anyway. Are you brave? Minho's voice caught. I'm trying to be. I watched my son fall asleep holding Minho's hand. Watched this dangerous man, this mafia boss, become soft and gentle and real. And I realized something terrifying. I was falling for him all over again. But this time, it wasn't just my heart at risk. It was Ji-woo's too. And 2 days later, everything came crashing down when Minho's former associates showed up at my hospital looking for revenge. The attack came on a Tuesday night, exactly 2 months after Minho met Ji-woo. I was in the middle of a complicated C-section, twins, both breech, when my phone started vibrating in my pocket. Once, twice, 5 times. Hospital policy said no phones in surgery, but the persistent buzzing made my surgical nurse glance at me with concern. Dr. Park, do you need to... I'm fine. Let's focus on getting these babies out safely. But I wasn't fine. Every instinct I'd developed as a single mother was screaming that something was wrong. 10 minutes later, we successfully delivered both babies. I was stripping off my surgical gloves when the OR doors burst open. Hospital security. Behind them, Minho's head of security, a man named Tae Yang, who I'd met briefly. Dr. Park, We have a situation. My heart stopped. Jiwoo, where's my son? He's safe. He's in the pediatric wing with 2 of our guards. But ma'am, there are 3 armed men in the hospital. Former Kim family associates. They're looking for you. Everything else happened in fragments like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The security footage they showed me later revealed everything in brutal clarity. 3 men in expensive suits entering through the main entrance at 8:47 p.m. Walking with purpose, confidence, the swagger of men used to getting what they wanted. They stopped at the information desk. The young volunteer working there, a college student named Minji who I'd mentored, pointed them toward the elevators after they flashed what looked like police badges. They rode up to the 3rd floor, pediatric ward, where the hospital daycare was located, where Jiwoo was. The head daycare attendant, Mrs. Cho, a grandmother of 5 with 40 years of experience, immediately sensed something wrong when they walked in, asking for the park boy. I'm sorry, but I can't release information about our children without proper authorization, she said.
안녕, 여러분. Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know I didn't tell everything yet. The complete version has 20 full audio episodes. No interruptions, no ads. Just the story, the emotions, and the moments I couldn't fit in here. If you scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment,
Positioning herself between the men
now.
and the playroom where 15 children, including my son, were watching a movie. That's when one of them pulled a gun. Mrs. Cho hit the panic button. Alarms blared. Security lockdown protocols engaged. Metal shutters started closing over windows, doors automatically locking. The children started screaming. And Jiwoo, my brave, foolish 6-year-old, peeked out from the playroom to see what was happening. One of the men saw Minho's eyes staring back at him. That's him, Kim's bastard. They moved toward my son. That's when Minho arrived. I didn't see it happen in real time. I was being escorted to a safe room by hospital security, fighting every step of the way, screaming that I needed to get to my son. But the security footage, which the police made me watch later during questioning, showed everything. Minho entered through the stairwell at 8:51 p.m., 4 minutes after the initial breach. No security detail, no weapons, just him in the designer suit he'd been wearing to a business meeting, running full sprint down the hospital corridor. He turned the corner to the pediatric ward and stopped. The 3 men had Jiwoo. One of them was holding my son by the arm, gun pointed at Mrs. Cho, while the other 2 worked on overriding the lockdown doors. The footage had no audio, but I watched Minho's mouth move, watched him raise his hands, watched him step forward slowly. Whatever he said made the man holding Jiwoo look up. Recognition. Anger. The man shoved Jiwoo toward Mrs. Cho and turned the gun toward Minho. What happened next took maybe 15 seconds. Minho moved like water. Fluid. Precise. Deadly. Years of martial arts training combined with street fighting experience. He disarmed the first man before the others could react, used the momentum to swing the gun into the second man's face. The third man lunged with a knife. That's when Minho got hurt. The blade caught him across the ribs, a deep slash that I later stitched up myself with trembling hands. But even bleeding, Minho didn't stop. He took the man down with a brutal efficiency that reminded me exactly what he used to be. By the time hospital security and Seoul Metro Police arrived 90 seconds later, all 3 men were on the ground, disarmed and subdued. Minho was standing in front of the playroom door, bleeding heavily, positioned between the attackers and the children, between them and our son. I found them in the ER 2 hours later. The police had questioned me extensively. Hospital administration was in chaos. Parents were arriving to pick up terrified children. But all I could think about was getting to Jiwoo. He was sitting in a chair next to an examination bed, his small legs swinging, face streaked with dried tears. On the bed, Minho was lying shirtless while a resident finished stitching the knife wound across his ribs, a 10-inch gash that would leave a nasty scar. "Mommy!" Jiwoo jumped down and ran to me. I scooped him up, buried my face in his hair, breathed in his little boy smell of apple shampoo and playground dirt. "Are you okay, baby? Did anyone hurt you?" "I'm okay. But Mommy, Mr. Minho got hurt protecting me." His voice was awed, scared, proud all at once. "He fought the bad guys like in the movies. He was so brave." Over Jiwoo's shoulder, I met Minho's eyes. He looked exhausted, pale from blood loss, but his gaze was steady. "Can you sit here for just a minute, sweetheart?" I set Jiwoo down gently. I need to talk to Mr. Minho. Okay, but Mom? Is Mr. Minho gonna be okay? Yes, baby. He's going to be fine. I waited until Jiwoo was distracted by a nurse offering him apple juice, then approached Minho's bed. The resident had finished stitching and was applying bandages. 37 stitches, the young doctor reported. No major organ damage, but he lost a fair amount of blood. I'd recommend overnight observation. I'll observe him, I said quietly. Thank you, Dr. Han. I'll take it from here. When we were alone as you can be in an ER bay with only a curtain for privacy, I looked at Minho properly, really looked at him, at the bandages wrapped around his torso, at the bruises forming on his jaw and knuckles, at the exhaustion in his eyes. You could have died, I whispered. Worth it. His voice was hoarse but certain. He's my son, Elena. I would die 1,000 times before I let anyone hurt him. This is what I was afraid of. I was shaking, adrenaline finally catching up. This is why I didn't want you in his life. Your world followed you here. Those men came here because of you. Those men came here because they're cowards who wanted revenge. Minho tried to sit up, winced. Elena, I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But this is exactly why I'm leaving the organization. Why I'm burning every bridge, giving testimony to the prosecutors, making sure the Kim family can never touch us again. Can you promise me that? Can you really promise me that Jiwoo will be safe? No. His honesty stunned me. I can't promise that the past won't come back. I can't promise there won't be more threats, more danger. What I can promise is that I will spend every day of my life protecting you both, that I will never, ever let anyone hurt our son, and that I'm done with that world, Elena. Completely done. A nurse poked her head through the curtain. Dr. Park? There's a Detective Kim here. He needs to speak with you and Mr. Minho about the incident. The next 3 hours were a blur of police statements, hospital paperwork, and phone calls. Minho gave detailed testimony about the 3 attackers, former Kim family enforcers angry about his departure and cooperation with authorities. The police arrested all 3 men on charges of assault with a deadly weapon, attempted kidnapping, and terrorism. In exchange for his cooperation and testimony about organized crime activities, the prosecutor's office offered Minho full immunity and witness protection if needed. He declined the protection. I'm not hiding anymore, he told Detective Kim. I'm done running from my past. I'm ready to face it, pay for whatever I need to pay for, and move forward. By the time we left the hospital, it was 3 a.m. Ta Yang drove us to my apartment in Minho's armored sedan. Jiwoo fell asleep in the back seat, his head on my lap, occasionally whimpering from nightmares. He's going to need therapy, I said quietly. This was traumatic. I know a good child psychologist, Dr. Yoon. She's helped other children deal with. Minho paused. With situations like this. Other mafia children, you mean? Yes. At my apartment building, Taeyang carried Jiwoo upstairs while Minho insisted on walking despite his injury. Inside, I put Jiwoo to bed, kissed his forehead, left the nightlight on. When I came back to the living room, Minho was standing by the window, looking out at the Seoul skyline. Even injured and exhausted, he carried himself with that quiet authority that had first attracted me 7 years ago. You should rest, I said. That wound needs time to heal. Elena, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you regret it? Letting me into Jiwoo's life? I was quiet for a long moment, thinking about the past 2 months. About Jiwoo's joy at having a father. About Minho showing up for every soccer practice, every school event, learning to braid hair when Jiwoo wanted to try different hairstyles. About the way my son's face lit up whenever Minho walked into a room. No, I said finally. Tonight was terrifying, but no, I don't regret it. Jiwoo deserves to know his father. And you. I stepped closer. You've been good for him, good to him. I want to be good for you too. Minho turned from the window. I know I don't deserve a second chance. I know I hurt you terribly 7 years ago. But Elena, I need you to know. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. My breath caught. Minho? You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He moved toward the door. I should go. Let you both rest. Stay. He froze. What? Stay. Please. I gestured to the couch. You're injured. You shouldn't be alone tonight. And honestly, I don't want to be alone either. I keep seeing those men. Keep thinking about what could have happened. Minho crossed the room and pulled me into his arms. Careful of his injury, I pressed my face against his chest and let myself cry for the first time all night. For the fear. For the relief. For the 7 years we'd lost. I've got you, he whispered into my hair. I've got you both, and I'm never letting go again. 1 month later. Dad, you're doing it wrong. I smiled, listening to Jiwoo's exasperated voice from the kitchen where he and Minho were attempting to make pancakes. It was Saturday morning, and this had become our routine. Minho would come over Friday night, sleep on the couch, we were taking things slow, and spend the weekend with us. What do you mean I'm doing it wrong? This is exactly how my chef showed me. Oh. There was a pause. Your chef isn't supposed to make the pancakes himself, is he? Dad, you literally just said your chef. You're the chef right now. Right, okay. So the round thing with holes. It's called a spatula. I walked into the kitchen to find my 6-year-old son standing on a step stool, directing Minho, former Korean mafia boss, feared businessman, millionaire, on how to flip pancakes. Minho had flour on his cheek and batter on his expensive watch, looking more relaxed than I'd ever seen him. Need help? I offered. We've got this, Minho said confidently, just as he flipped a pancake that promptly landed on the floor. Jiwoo burst into giggles. Dad! Okay, maybe we need a little help. The word dad still made my heart clench every time. Jiwoo had started using it naturally after we told him the truth, and Minho's eyes still got misty whenever he heard it. We were rebuilding, slowly, carefully, but genuinely. Minho had severed all ties with the Kim family business. His younger brother took over operations, and Minho walked away with his clean investments, enough money to never work again, but he'd started a legitimate import business. Real imports this time. Electronics, textiles, nothing illegal. He saw Jiwoo 4 days a week now. Picked him up from school, helped with homework, attended every parent-teacher conference. He was also co-parenting his daughter, Hana, with Soo-jin, who had been remarkably understanding about the entire situation. In fact, last week, Soo-jin had brought Hana over for a playdate. Jiwoo should know his sister, she'd said simply. And honestly, I'm glad he found you. Minho's a better man because of it. Watching Jiwoo gently hold his 3-month-old half-sister, showing her his toys, singing to her, it had broken something open in my chest. This strange, blended family we were creating wasn't traditional, but it was ours. Earth to Elena? Minho waved a spatula in front of my face. Where'd you go? Just thinking. About? About how weird our life is, and how much I like it anyway. He grinned. Weird is good. Weird means we're figuring it out. After breakfast, slightly burnt pancakes that Jiwoo declared the best ever, we took Jiwoo to his soccer game. Minho cheered louder than any other parent, jumped up when Jiwoo scored, and proudly wore the embarrassing Jiwoo's dad t-shirt our son had made him. Later, after Minho took Jiwoo for ice cream, I had coffee with my best friend, Dr. Sarah Chen. So, Sarah said, giving me her signature knowing look, you and Minho, you're really doing this? We're taking it slow. Elena, the man sleeps on your couch 3 nights a week, makes your kid breakfast, and looks at you like you hung the moon. That's not slow, that's domestic. It's complicated. It's not complicated. You love him. He loves you. He loves Jiwoo. He's left the mafia. He literally took a knife for your son. What exactly are you waiting for? I stared into my coffee. I'm waiting to be sure, to know that this isn't just about Jiwoo, to know that he really has changed. Has he given you any reason to doubt it? I thought about the past 3 months, about Minho showing up in the rain when Jiwoo had a fever, about him learning to cook because I mentioned I was tired of takeout, about finding him asleep on my couch with medical journals he'd been reading so he could understand my work better, about the way he'd held me after nightmares, patient and gentle and present. No, I admitted. He hasn't. Then maybe, Sarah said gently, it's time to stop punishing him for the past and start building your future. 2 months later, Jiwoo's 7th birthday party was chaos in the best possible way. 20 screaming children hopped up on cake and sugar running through my apartment. Minho had wanted to rent out an entire amusement park, but I'd put my foot down. Normal birthday, Minho. Normal. This is normal? He asked, ducking as a foam soccer ball flew past his head. This is childhood. Soojin was there with baby Hana, who was now 5 months old and fascinated by all the noise. Jiwoo's school friends were there. My medical school classmates and their children. Even Mrs. Cho from the hospital daycare, who Jiwoo had insisted we invite. Dr. Park saved my life that scary day, he'd said seriously. We should celebrate together. I watched Minho organize a treasure hunt, getting down on hands and knees to hide clues, his expensive suit completely forgotten. Watched him help Jiwoo blow out candles, tears in his eyes as we sang happy birthday. Watched him hold Hana when she got fussy, rocking her gently while simultaneously refereeing an argument between two 7-year-olds about soccer rules. He'd become a father, not just biologically, but truly, fully. Later, after all the guests left and Jiwoo crashed in his bed surrounded by new toys, Minho and I cleaned up the aftermath. That was exhausting, he said, collapsing on the couch. That was parenting. I sat next to him. I loved every second of it. He turned to me. Elena, I need to tell you something. My heart jumped. Okay. I bought a house in Seongbuk-dong. Big yard, good schools nearby, 5 bedrooms so Jiwoo can have his own space, and there's room for Hana to visit. He was talking fast, nervous. I'm not asking you to move in. I know we're taking things slow, but I wanted you to see it. Wanted you to know that I'm building a future. A real future. One that has room for all of us. Minho... And I talked to a lawyer about formally recognizing Jiwoo as my son. With your permission, I'd like to add my name to his birth certificate. I want him to have everything he deserves. My name, my protection, his inheritance. Minho, I said again, louder. He stopped. Yes, I love you. The words hung in the air between us. I hadn't said them in 7 years, had sworn I never would again. But sitting there, in my messy apartment with birthday decorations still hanging, looking at this man who had fought his way back to me, who loved our son with his entire being, who was trying so hard to be better, I couldn't keep them in anymore. You love me? His voice cracked. I think I never stopped. I just buried it under hurt and anger and fear. But yes, I love you. I love who you've become. I love who you are with Jiwoo. I love this strange, complicated life we're building. Minho cupped my face in his hands. Elena Park, I have loved you since the moment you refused my champagne at that hospital gala 7 years ago. I loved you when I had to leave. I loved you every day we were apart. I love you now. And I will love you for the rest of my life.
If you made it to the end, you already understand this isn't just another story. What you watched here is only a fragment. The full experience lives in 20 complete audio episodes, carefully told, with every detail, every emotion, every turning point. There are no ads, no interruptions, and nothing was removed like it is on YouTube. You can listen anytime on your phone with total privacy, inside the members-only area. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment.
He kissed me then, soft and sweet and full of promise. When we pulled apart, I was crying. So, he whispered, does this mean we're done taking it slow? I laughed through my tears. I think we can speed things up a little. 6 months later. The wedding was small, just close family and friends in the garden of Minho's new house, our house, as I was starting to think of it. Jiwoo was the ring bearer, taking his job incredibly seriously. Hana, now almost a year old, was the flower girl, though she mostly just chewed on flowers while Soojin carried her down the aisle. I wore a simple white dress. Minho wore a suit that made him look unfairly handsome. And when the officiant asked if we took each other, we both said yes without hesitation. You may kiss the bride. Minho pulled me close and kissed me while our son cheered and our friends applauded and the sun set over Seoul. When we broke apart, Jiwoo was tugging on Minho's jacket. Dad, does this mean you're my dad officially now? I've always been your dad, buddy. But yes, now it's official on paper too. Cool, can I have a brother next? Minho and I both laughed. One thing at a time, sweetheart, I said. But that night, as we danced under string lights in the garden, Minho holding me close, Jiwoo dancing with my mom, Soojin chatting with my medical school friends, I thought about the future, about the family we were building, about the redemption we'd both found. Minho had left the mafia. I'd forgiven the past. Jiwoo had a father who adored him. And we had each other. What are you thinking about? Minho asked, his lips against my temple. I'm thinking about how scared I was when you walked into my hospital. How sure I was that you'd destroy everything I'd built. And now? Now I know you didn't destroy it. You completed it. I looked up at him. We're a family, Minho. A real family. We are. He kissed me softly. And I promise you, Elena, I will spend every day of our life together, making sure you never regret giving me this chance. I don't regret it, not for a second. As we swayed to the music, I saw Jiwoo watching us with a huge smile on his face. Our son, our miracle, the beautiful thing that came from our forbidden love. The mafia was behind us. The pain was behind us. The fear was behind us. All that was left was love and family and the future we'd build together, one day at a time. So here's my question for you. If you discovered the father of your child was a mafia boss, would you tell him? Would you risk everything for the truth or protect your child with silence? Because 7 years ago, I chose silence. I ran. I hid my pregnancy. And I thought I was protecting Jiwoo. But some of you in the comments right now are thinking, you were wrong. He deserved to know. Others are thinking, you did the right thing. You kept your son safe. I need to know, which side are you on? Comment, tell him, if you think I should have told Minho from the start. Comment, protect the child if you think I made the right choice running. Because here's the truth. There is no perfect answer. Every woman facing this impossible choice has to decide for herself. And right now, thousands of women are living this exact nightmare. Dangerous men, hidden pregnancies, impossible choices. Some chose to tell. Some chose to run. Some are still deciding. What would you do? Comment below. Your story might save someone's life. And if you want to hear how other women escaped the underworld, survived abusive, powerful men, and rebuilt their lives, check the pinned comment. Their stories will make you cry, make you angry, and maybe, just maybe, give you the courage you need. Drop your vote below. And if this story touched you, if you've ever faced an impossible choice, share this video. Someone out there needs to hear they're not alone.